Do I need to make new content constantly? I'm running out of things to write about. Um, I could definitely empathize with that because we create a lot of content here at iMagnet Management, and a lot of times there's not 50 different ways to say the same thing. So a lot of times you feel like you're repeating yourself. So I'm going to go over a couple different things to think about when you're creating content. And we're going to talk about this with regard to your website, and we're going to talk about it with regard to your social media, because I think they're two distinctly different things. So let's talk first about your website. On your website, you're going to have pages on your website, which I would consider to be pillar content, PILLAR, like the pillars of a building. Those are going to be your main products and services. So the pillar content on your website, think about that as the pages on your website that define the main products and services that you offer. The other content that you're going to generate, whether that's in a blog, whether that's in a project portfolio, whatever the case may be, you want to think about that content as enhancing the pillars and the strength of the pillar content on your website. So when you're talking about, again, I know a lot of people that are tuning in are in the window film business. So let's talk about, like home window films or home window tint. And, you have a page on your website dedicated to that process, but you're also creating content about projects you've been working on and things like that, or different benefits of home window film. What you want to do is you want to create content that then links back to that home page. So when you put the words home window film or something like that in the content, backlink it to your main home window film page on your website. That's going to strengthen that pillar. The other thing to think about is to break down the things that you maybe talk about in your main page about the benefits. Let's say you have the main benefits of that product or service on your main page, but you give it like a paragraph or 3 to 5 sentences to talk about that benefit. Well, think about the ways you can create additional content is to break those benefits up into individual pieces of content. So write maybe a piece of content about each individual benefit individually, but then again, link it back to your main page. So that's going to give you the ability to have more content that's not what they would call duplicate content. Like you never want to create content that basically duplicates what's already on your website. But you do want to create content that enhances what's already on your website and then link back to that content, as I mentioned, to strengthen the pillar content on your website. So hopefully that makes sense so far. As far as running out of things to write, you don't always have to write new things. Oftentimes what you can do is, as you've thought about it more, or you could go back to a content you maybe created a year ago or a year and a half ago and revisit that. Often you'll find that there's ways that you can reword something, maybe add something new to it, maybe enhance it a little bit, and then you can refresh that content. I've read and I've listened to a lot of different things about content on your website to help your SEO. And a lot of times it's not about just creating tons of new content, although creating new content is often good. A lot of times it's going back and kind of weeding your garden, if you will, like going back and enhancing and improving the content that's already there. A lot of times there's just as much advantage to going back and enhancing or improving content that's already there than as there is in creating a brand new piece of content. So if you feel like you've written about everything there's possible to write about and you're running out of things to write about, consider going back and actually updating, revising, enhancing content that's already there. Now that's with regard to the website. We've talked a little bit about that. Let's talk about social media. You got to think about social media the way that the current algorithm is. Not everybody is going to see your posts, for one. So a lot of times it's not, if you posted something and then a couple weeks later you post it again, don't look at that as regurgitating the same content. A lot of times you'll get in front of a lot of people that didn't even see the first post. So with a lot of really successful pages, you'll see there's an ongoing effort to not only create new content, but then recycle content, good content that they've already had, repost it again a couple weeks later, a couple months later. And again, some of that content is what would be called evergreen, which means the nature of the content never really goes bad. It never goes out of date, if you will. It's always ripe. It's always good to share. So in that type of content, you may want to consider going back and resharing content that you've already had, so you don't feel that pressure to have to always create something new every single week, every single post, create something new. Maybe go back and reshare something that you really liked that you did 6 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago or whatever. So again, that's one of the things that you can do to, if you're in this rut that this person that wrote the question said, is they feel like they're running out of things to write. Try reusing, enhancing, recycling content that you've already had and try making that better. Maybe rewording the copy a little bit, maybe using the same image, but rewording the copy a little bit, making that a little bit better is a way to kind of recycle and enhance that content even on social media. So hopefully that helps with that question. I know we kind of went into a couple different directions, but I think it's important with regard to that.